Now, we need to go on to and have a look at the Peter Slipper thing now in more detail. Depending on what clutch of cab charges you're looking at, but the Financial Review had a really interesting outline during the week where they listed all of these trips, and it didn't matter whether you're in a limousine or a cab or what town you're in at the time or where the trip was. All that first group, $75.68 every trip, $75.68. That second group, $95.86, and the bottom group, $126.14. All of them. Didn't matter where it came from.
Complete mystery. I've gone over them with a calculator, wondering, is that the cab? If you take off the cab charge fee, does it come to some kind of interestingly round number? No, the numbers are they cabalistic? I thought I had a good look at them for cabalistic tendencies. No, couldn't see any cabalistic tendencies.
Maybe you were looking for limolistic tendencies.
And then you just look at them and you think, what? If you were ramping the system, why would you so signal what you were doing by having something at one stage, there are something like 12 journeys over 3 states with 5 or 6 different limo companies, and they're all $78.53.
Exactly.
What
all of them.
Is this?
All of them. In the end, though, these cab charges matters will have to be resolved before he will resume, and he said that he won't resume the chair until that's resolved. So it comes down then to what attitude ought to be taken on the other matter, and that is the sexual harassment claims. And Nicola Roxon, the Attorney-General, runs this argument about precedent.
We have to be very careful that we don't get into a situation where there is a perverse incentive for people to make claims against someone in high office because this new rule is suddenly going to apply that you can't continue with your job in the meantime. That would be bad for our country, that would be bad for civil processes, and it would actually, I think, provide a very dangerous perverse incentive for people to be able to make these sorts of claims if the automatic rule was a minister or a public figure should stand aside.
Now, that makes perfect sense, but it doesn't work politically. That's the problem, isn't it?
Look, the point that she makes is a perfectly good one. I think the difficulty here is that the speakership is a position that is a repository of judgment and a repository of...
trust.
Yeah, certainly.
Decorum,
and discretion.
dignity.
And I mean discretion,
Tradition.
not leaving the shower door open way. I mean in the exercising discretion. And no side of politics really should be able to tell a speaker what to do. The point is that once you've attained the speakership, your judgment is the important thing. And I suspect that in this case, the Speaker needs to use his judgment appropriately about what is good for the position of the Speaker and what is good for the Parliament on the whole. And, this is very unfortunate for Peter Slipper personally, but I think a Speaker who dons a gown and sits in control of the Parliament while there's all these strange pieces of information circulating around, at this stage not properly contested. I mean, a Speaker who's...
it's impossible.
It's a very difficult position to sustain for the Parliament.
His main job is the member for Fisher, representing the people of Fisher. He can keep that job. It's an extra position to be Speaker, and the focus on him at the moment is limiting, if not completely destroying, his capacity to do that job properly. It's as simple as that. And in terms of vexatious civil claims, you've got to take each claim individually, claim by claim. You can't have this generic rule about ruling...
And you do get the feeling that the Bill Shorten supports the view that's just been expressed here this morning. But,
did you get that view?
Well, at least we got that view early on Thursday. We'll have a listen to that first.
I'm certainly of the view that sexual harassment at any level is completely unacceptable. I would imagine that Mr Slipper, and I haven't spoken to him, but he'll be considering his position. But in terms of the government's view, sexual harassment is completely unacceptable at any level.
OK, that was early in the day, and then the Prime Minister held a news conference in Turkey, and then we had that extraordinary interview on Sky. Here we go.
When we look to the history of the Parliament, we can see a clear set of precedents where people have continued to function in their office while the subject of civil matters.
I understand that the Prime Minister's addressed this in a press conference in Turkey in the last few hours. I haven't seen what she said, but let me say I support what it is that she said.
Hang on, you haven't seen what she said?
But I support what my Prime Minister said, so...
Well, what's your view?
Well, my view is what the Prime Minister's view is.
But you don't know what that is?
Well, I'm sure she's right.
but you'll wait to make up your own mind until you see what the leader said.
I'm a minister in the government. I support our Prime Minister, full stop.
OK, now Bill Shorten has notoriety around the world. The Guardian in London, the headline this morning, is Bill Shorten the world's most loyal politician? The subheading, the Minister agrees with the Prime Minister even when he doesn't know what she said. Now, but nevertheless, despite all of that, is he winning a bit of respect within the party because of his view?
Oh, look, can we just wind back one step further? I think there is another question here that goes beyond settling the cab charge stuff, settling the sex stuff. Even when that's settled, is this man truly a candidate for being the Speaker of the House of Representatives? Is this the kind of man that... And essentially they're all still in a way defending him because oddly enough, both sides of politics, once this is all over, and Shorten perhaps will be perhaps a beneficiary of this, once this is all over, they're still going to want Slipper's vote. So at the end of this grubby process, there is going to be this casualty, one hopes on the backbench, not in the Speaker's chair, still able to influence the outcome of things because of his vote.
Yeah. And supporting...